You know what's funny? Not funny, haha, but funny in that sick, twisted way life works sometimes. I spent 32 years being the most devoted mother you could imagine, and my son couldn't even be bothered to show up when I was lying in a hospital bed, thinking I might die. I mean, God, where do I even start with this mess? I raised that boy completely alone. His father bailed when I was 6 months pregnant. Real stand-up guy, right? Minus. And I literally gave up everything for him. Everything. My career, my social life. Hell, I didn't date anyone seriously for years because I didn't want to confuse him or bring the wrong kind of man around my baby. NWE were like, we were supposed to be this team, you know? It was always me and Tyler against the world. That's what I used to tell him when money was tight and we'd eat mac and cheese for dinner 3 nights in a row. When I'd come home exhausted from pulling double shifts at the diner and still help him with his homework until midnight. When I sold my grandmother's ring, the only valuable thing I owned, to pay for his SAT prep classes, NBUT that Tuesday morning when I woke up with chest pains so bad I couldn't breathe. When the paramedics were loading me into the ambulance and I was genuinely scared I was having a heart attack. You know who wasn't there? Yeah, my son. The one person who should have dropped everything and rushed to my side. And actually, wait, let me back up. Because you need to understand how we got here. NSO Tyler was. God, he was everything to me. Like literally everything. When his dad left, and honestly, good riddance to that loser, I made this promise to myself that I'd be enough for both of us, you know? I worked at this greasy diner downtown, the kind where truckers would come in at 3 a.m. ordering coffee that could strip paint. And the tips were decent if you could handle the occasional creep trying to grab your ass. Sorry, I don't usually talk like that, but anyway, point is, I'd work the night shift so I could be home when Tyler got back from school. Pick up a few hours cleaning offices on weekends too. NIF. This is your first time here. I'm Dr. Natasha Cole. This channel is dedicated to sharing true, heartfelt stories about life, family, and the lessons we learn along the way, step by step, backed by real experiences and understanding. If that sounds like something you need in your life, feel free to hit subscribe. We'd love to have you as part of our community. Now the kid was smart though, really smart. His teachers kept saying gifted program this and advanced placement that, and I'm thinking, how the hell am I going to afford all this? But you do it, right? You figure it out because that's what moms do. Community college for me was out the window. Couldn't afford it anyway with the baby. But Tyler? No way was he ending up stuck like me. I saved every penny, ate ramen noodles while he got the good groceries, wore the same 3 outfits to work for. God, probably 2 years straight. When he graduated valedictorian, I'm talking full scholarship to state. I cried so hard at that ceremony, people probably thought I was having a breakdown. Maybe I was, but happy tears, you know? Like finally something went right. All those years of him coming home saying, Mom, the other kids have Nintendo, or why can't we go on vacation like everyone else? It was all worth it. NHE hugged me that day and said, I couldn't have done this without you, Mom. Stupid me actually believed him. NSO, fast forward, like 15 years. And, well, things changed. Tyler got his degree, landed some fancy job at a tech company, the kind where they have those stupid ping pong tables and free snacks everywhere. Started making more money in a year than I'd seen in my entire life. Which, don't get me wrong, I was proud, really proud. But somewhere along the way, he just, I don't know, became different. Like he got this new girlfriend, Madison, with her perfect blonde hair and her MBA. And suddenly, our weekly phone calls turned into maybe once a month. If I was lucky, NHE moved to this expensive neighborhood across town, bought one of those houses with the big stone columns out front, looked like something from a magazine. I only saw it twice. Both times I felt like I needed to wipe my feet extra clean before walking in. You know what I mean? And then Madison, she'd do that thing where she'd smile real big, but her eyes stayed cold. Oh, hi, Mrs. Sorry, what should I call you? Even though Tyler had introduced me as his mother like 5 times already. She'd talk about their weekend trips to wine country and their new Tesla like, like she was speaking a different language or something. And Tyler started doing it too, talking about optimizing synergies at work and going to these networking events. Sometimes when he'd call, which was rare, I could hear her in the background making comments. Once I swear I heard her say, "Just tell her you'll call back later," when I was literally mid-sentence about my neighbor Mrs. Chen having a stroke. NTHE worst part? He stopped coming for holidays. First it was, "Oh, we're doing Madison's family this year." Then it became, "We're trying this new tradition of just staying home." Last Christmas, he sent a gift card. A fucking gift card. To Target N, I should have seen the signs then. But then I got sick. Really sick. Not like a cold or whatever. I'm talking about the kind of sick that makes you lie awake at 3 a.m., Googling symptoms and scaring yourself into thinking you're dying. And it started with these weird chest pains, like someone was sitting on me. Couldn't catch my breath walking up the stairs to my apartment, which is only one flight, by the way. I kept thinking it was stress, or maybe I was just getting old. 58 isn't exactly young, right? But then one morning, I literally collapsed in my kitchen, making coffee. NTHE ambulance ride was, God, it's all fuzzy now, but I remember thinking, I need to call Tyler, even while they're hooking me up to all these machines. The paramedic, nice guy, probably around Tyler's age, he's asking about my emergency contact, and I'm rattling off my son's number like he's gonna magically appear. NSO from the ER, I call him. It's like 10 a.m. on a Tuesday, he should be at work, but whatever, this is important. Phone rings 4 times and goes to voicemail. I leave this rambling message about being in the hospital and how scared I am, and could he please call me back. NHE texts me an hour later. A text. Sorry, Mom, in meetings all day. Are you okay? We'll try to call tonight. I'm sitting there with an IV in my arm waiting for test results, literally shaking because the doctor used words like cardiac episode and need to run more tests. And my son can't pick up the phone. NTHAT night he does call, finally. But it's quick, distracted. I can hear Madison talking in the background about dinner reservations or something. He's like, well, if the doctors aren't worried, and you know how these things go, probably just anxiety. And I'm trying to tell him that they want to keep me for more tests, but he cuts me off. Mom, I gotta run. We're meeting friends at this new place downtown. But keep me updated, okay? Keep him updated. Like I'm giving him a weather report. And then came surgery day. And Jesus, I can't even... Okay, let me just get through this part. NTHE cardiologist. Dr. Martinez. Really sweet woman. She explained everything about the procedure they needed to do. Something about clearing blocked arteries. Minimally invasive, but still. It's your heart, you know? She's going through all the risks, and I'm nodding along, but inside I'm just terrified. Is there someone who can be here with you? She asks. Family member to drive you home afterwards? And I'm like, yes, my son's coming, because Tyler had actually promised. When I called him the night before, almost crying, he said, of course I'll be there, Mom. Wouldn't miss it. Surgery's scheduled for 6 a.m., so I'm up at like 4:30, can't eat anything, feeling nauseous and shaky. I text Tyler, heading to hospital now. See you soon, red heart. Yeah. I used a heart emoji. Shoot me, I was scared. NNO response. They wheel me into pre-op, and I keep checking my phone. The nurse, Janet, I remember her name because she was so kind. She keeps asking if my family knows where to wait. Oh yes. I tell her, my son will be here any minute. 6:15. 6:30. They're prepping me for anesthesia, and I finally get a text. Running late. Traffic is crazy. Might not make it before you go in, but I'll be there when you wake up. And I wanted to cry right there on the table. But the anesthesia was all ready. And then everything went black. When I came to in recovery, groggy and confused, Janet sitting next to me. Just her. No Tyler. She's got this gentle smile, but I can see the pity in her eyes. Your son called, she says softly. He said he got held up at work, but he'll try to stop by later. Later. Try to stop by. Like I'm some casual acquaintance he might visit if he has time. NTHE recovery ward was, God, it was like a special kind of torture. 4 beds in my room, and the other 3 women had constant visitors. This one lady, Mrs. Patterson, she had what seemed like half the county coming through. Kids, grandkids, neighbors bringing casseroles. The woman across from me? Her daughter practically moved into that uncomfortable chair next to her bed. And then there's me. Just me. And Tyler did show up, finally. Day 2, around lunchtime. Walks in wearing this expensive suit, checking his phone every 30 seconds. Gives me this awkward side hug, careful not to mess up his hair or whatever, and sits down on the very edge of the visitor chair like he might need to bolt any second. How are you feeling? He asks, but his eyes are on his watch. I'm trying to tell him about the surgery, how scared I was, how the recovery's been harder than expected. And he's nodding along, but I can tell he's not really listening. Then his phone buzzes and he actually looks at it, mid-conversation. Sorry mom, work emergency. You understand? No, Tyler. I don't understand. I don't understand how your mother having heart surgery ranks below whatever email just came through. NHE stays maybe 20 minutes total. Promises to come back tomorrow, brings me these sad grocery store flowers, the kind that are already wilting in their plastic wrap, kisses my forehead and says, get some rest, like that's advice I haven't heard from every nurse for the past 2 days. NMRs. Patterson's watching this whole thing. I can feel her eyes on us. After he leaves, she goes, busy man, your son. Yeah. Busy NTHAT night. I'm lying there listening to other families, laughing and talking, sharing dinner from home, and I'm eating hospital jello alone, wondering when exactly I became so forgettable to the person I loved most in this world. Discharge day was, honestly, it was probably the loneliest moment of my entire life. And that's saying something because I've had some pretty lonely moments. NTHE nurse, different one this time, older lady named Ruth. She's going through all the discharge papers with me. Medication schedule, follow-up appointments, warning signs to watch for. And she keeps saying, make sure your family knows about this, and have someone check on you for the first few days. And I just kept nodding like, yeah, of course, someone will be there. NBUT when she asks, who's picking you up? I had to, God, this is embarrassing. I had to say I was taking an Uber. Her face just fell. This woman who's probably seen everything in 30 years of nursing, and she looked genuinely sad for me. Honey, she says real quiet. Are you sure you don't want to call someone? Even a friend? What friends? When you spend 30 years pouring everything into raising a kid and working to support him, you don't exactly have time to build this amazing social circle. My neighbor Mrs. Chen was still recovering from her stroke. And honestly, who else was there? NSO. I sat in the hospital lobby waiting for my ride, this beat-up Honda with air fresheners hanging from the mirror, and watched other patients leave with their families. Wheelchairs, surrounded by kids and grandkids, everyone talking at once, making sure grandma has her purse and her medications. NTHE Uber driver was sweet though. Noticed I was coming from the hospital and asked if I needed help getting to my apartment. Carried my little bag up the stairs for me. Wouldn't take a tip. Sometimes strangers are kinder than the people who are supposed to love you, you know? Walking into my empty apartment after 5 days away. It hit me then. Really hit me. How quiet it was. How nobody had even thought to check if I had groceries, or if my plants were dying, or anything. That's when I finally cried. Not the pretty tears you see in movies. Ugly, messy sobbing that made my chest hurt all over again. And I spent 3 days on my couch, just stewing, I guess. Eating crackers and soup, taking my heart pills, and thinking. Really thinking about everything. And Tyler called once. Left a voicemail while I was sleeping. Probably calculated the timing so he wouldn't actually have to talk to me. Hey mom, just checking in. Hope you're feeling better. Things are crazy at work. But I'll try to call this weekend. NHE didn't call that weekend. Then something inside me just snapped isn't the right word. It was quieter than that. More like something deflated. Or died. All those years of making excuses for him, telling myself he was busy, successful, building his life. When did I become such an inconvenience? I have this old wooden desk in my bedroom. Bought it at a garage sale when Tyler was in middle school, so he'd have somewhere to do homework. I sat down there with a legal pad and started making lists. All the ways I'd been there for him. All the times he wasn't there for me. Then I called my lawyer. Well, not my lawyer. I couldn't afford a fancy one. But this guy downtown who does wills and stuff for regular people. Made an appointment for the following week. Changed everything. The will that left him the house, the small life insurance policy, even the savings account I'd been adding to for years, thinking maybe it could help with a down payment on a house for him and Madison someday. Took his name off my emergency contacts, put Mrs. Chen's daughter instead. She's a nurse, and actually gives a damn about people. Updated my medical directives. Canceled the credit card I'd gotten him for emergencies that he used for fancy dinners and weekend trips. NTHE hardest part was deleting his number from my speed dial. Such a small thing, but it had been number 1 for 15 years. Now it's just gone, and I didn't tell him any of this. Didn't call to fight or explain or give him some dramatic speech about how hurt I was. And I just stopped. Stopped calling, stopped texting, stopped being the one who always reached out first. Took him 2 months. 2 whole months before Tyler even noticed I wasn't calling anymore. And I was actually having a pretty good day. It was a Saturday. I'd started going to the senior center for their Saturday morning coffee thing. Met some really nice people there when my phone rang. His name popping up on the screen felt weird, like seeing someone you used to know. And Mom, why haven't you been answering your phone? And I'm thinking, what phone calls? Because he hadn't called. But whatever. I just said I'd been busy. Busy with what? Like he couldn't imagine me having a life that didn't revolve around waiting for him to remember I exist. And then he gets all's, I don't know, accusatory? Madison's mom mentioned she saw you at the grocery store last week and you didn't even say hi. Oh, you mean when I saw Madison's mom, Linda or Leslie or whatever, and she looked right through me like I was invisible? Yeah, I didn't chase her down the cereal aisle to make small talk. Look, Mom, I know you're mad about the hospital thing, but I explained that. Work was insane, and there it was. The hospital thing. Like it was some minor inconvenience, instead of me lying there alone thinking I might die. And I let him talk for a while, making excuses, telling me how stressed he's been with his promotion, and planning their engagement. Oh yeah, he's engaged now, thanks for the heads up, and how they're looking at houses in the suburbs and blah blah blah. Finally he goes, so are we good? Can we get back to normal? Normal. Like normal was me being grateful for his scraps of attention while he lived his perfect little life. What's normal, Tyler? I asked him. Long pause. Then, I don't understand. Yeah. I know you don't. An SO. Here's where I am now, almost a year later. And honestly, I'm okay. Not great, not terrible. Just okay. Which is more than I thought I'd be. And Tyler tried calling a few more times after that conversation. Left some messages that started apologetic and got progressively more frustrated. Mom, this is ridiculous. Just call me back. Then Madison got involved. Apparently I was causing drama by not responding. Drama. Because wanting your son to show up when you're scared and sick is dramatic, I guess. They sent a Christmas card this year. One of those fancy photo ones where they're both wearing matching sweaters and perfect smiles. No note inside, just their printed names. I threw it away. NTHE weird thing is, I'm not as angry anymore. I was for a while. God, I was furious. But anger takes so much energy, and I don't have it in me. What I have is this quiet kind of peace, you know? And I volunteer at the animal shelter now on Tuesdays. Those dogs don't care that I'm not successful or rich or perfect. They just want someone to pet them and tell them they're good boys. Simple NMRs. Chen's daughter Rosa checks on me sometimes, brings her kids over. They call me Grandma Sarah even though we're not related. Her little boy draws me pictures of dinosaurs and leaves them on my refrigerator. When's the last time Tyler brought me anything just because it made him think of me? Now I'm not gonna lie and say I don't miss him. I miss the boy he used to be. The one who'd curl up next to me on the couch for movie nights and tell me about his day at school. But that boy grew up into a man who sees me as an obligation instead of his mother. Some people say I should forgive him, reach out, be the bigger person. Maybe they're right. Maybe someday I will. NBUT right now? Right now I'm learning that loving someone doesn't mean letting them treat you like you don't matter. Took me 59 years to figure that out, but better late than never, right?